This video is focused on dynamic discounting, one of the 3 financing solutions in the CRX Markets product suite. Dynamic discounting describes the process whereby the buyer may offer to pay the supplier's invoices earlier than their contractual payment terms, in exchange for receiving a discount of that invoice amount. The dynamic aspect of the financing solution refers to the fact that the buyer and supplier may now request for early payment throughout the entire invoice lifecycle, where, in general, the earlier the invoice is paid by the buyer, the greater the discount received. With dynamic discounting, suppliers who previously had trouble accessing external liquidity from banks or factoring companies are now able to benefit from a great alternative financing solution. The supplier is left in a situation where they require additional liquidity, and the buyer has an approved payable against the supplier, and dynamic discounting facilitates the relationship by allowing the buyer to directly pay the supplier the early invoice payment with their own cash. With the CRX Supply Chain Finance Portal, suppliers with dynamic discounting as their preferred financing option are able to request for the payment of their invoice prior to the maturity date, giving them full control over the management of their own cash flow. The portal also allows them to access all of their approved cash flow information with complete transparency and view their processing status results. Early invoice payment requests become possible only once the invoice has been approved by the buyer. Let's have a look at what happens on their end. A proprietary ERP integration tool allows buyers to predefine upload requirements and then manage the upload and status processing of any invoice automatically. The existing P2P process will not be affected by the add-on, and integration is kept at a minimum. Once the invoice has been automatically uploaded to the CRX portal, the supplier is now able to request for the early payment of the invoice. If the payable request was processed by the CRX portal, the new value date, which represents the date when the supplier will receive the nominal amount minus a discount, will automatically appear in both the CRX portal as well as the ERP system. All the buyer has to do now is to simply execute the payment of the full invoice amount minus a discount for the early payment. What differentiates the discount from dynamic discounting to traditional early payment discounts? With dynamic discounting, the buyer receives a discount which is on a sliding scale, meaning the discount the buyer will receive depends on the remaining days to maturity. In general, the earlier the invoice is paid, the greater the discount. Previously, with the traditional static discount method, buyers received a fixed discount for their early invoice payment within a limited timeframe, where the buyer was likely to miss out on a discount entirely if it was not possible to have the invoice approved within this time limit. Dynamic discounting presents buyers and suppliers with a mutually beneficial outcome, as suppliers have the flexibility to request for the early payment of their invoices, and onboarding is possible no matter their purchasing volume. Dynamic discounting does not rely on any third-party liquidity provider, so there is no requirement for any KYC or more advanced contractual frameworks. Dynamic discounting allows buyers to receive a discount right up until the contracted maturity date of the invoice. This process strengthens the relationship between the buyer and the supplier, and stabilizes the supply chain. If you would like to find out more information and get involved today, please visit crxmarkets.com and connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube.